Councilmember Brightigam.
Here.
Councilmember O'Neill.
Here.
Councilmember Bowie.
Yeah.
Councilmember Klopfenstein.
Here.
Councilmember Kim Nguyen.
Here.
Councilmember or Mayor Pro Tem Deidre Nguyen.
Here.
And Mayor Jones.
Here. We're going to start with the Housing Authority. So I'll hand it over.
George. That would be me, yes. Okay. Madam Clerk, can you call roll?
Commissioner Beckles. Here. Commissioner Bowie.
Yeah.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Commissioner Klopfenstein.
Here.
Commissioner Deidre Nguyen.
Here.
Commissioner O'Neill.
Here.
Vice Chair Kim Nguyen.
Here.
And Chair Brightigam.
Here. So go on to oral communications. Do we have anyone here who wishing to speak on any items to the Housing Authority? Okay. Seeing none, we will close oral communications and move to consent. Entertain a motion.
Move the motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Call for the vote. And this is on 2A. And B.
Oh, Chair Brightigam, we have to do a roll call vote for Commissioner Beckles.
Oh.
So we'll start with Commissioner Beckles. Yes. Commissioner Bowie.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Klopfenstein.
Yes.
Commissioner Deidre Nguyen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill.
Yes.
Vice Chair Kim Nguyen.
Yes.
And Chair Brightigam.
Yes.
Motion received, 8 yes votes.
It does it for consents. Matters from members? Okay, seeing none, we will adjourn the Housing Authority. Next regular meeting of the Housing Authority will be Tuesday, May 24th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. in the Community Meeting Center.
Alrighty then, we'll reconvene City Council. We've already taken roll. May I ask Assistant City Manager Maria Stipe to do the invocation and Councilmember Klopfenstein to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance thereafter.
Sure. If everybody could please stand and prepare yourselves according to your faith. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask for your guidance as we meet this evening to conduct business for our city government. Help us to keep in mind we are here to serve the people and enable us to make our decisions so that we may do what's best for all of the citizens of Garden Grove. In serving our community, may we also honor you. Amen.
Amen. Please place your hand over your heart and repeat after me.
Alrighty. Before we jump into presentations, there's one item I'd like to take out of order. This was something that was that slipped through the cracks and didn't get agendized for tonight, but we would like to bring it forward. So I'm bringing this as a matter from council, and this is that we would like to, or I'd like to bring forward what I would call an urgency item to do a proclamation for the Elks Club in honor of their Youth Week, which is May 1st through 7th. If we don't act on it tonight, then it sort of misses the mark because this is our last meeting prior to May 1st to May 7th. So I'd like to first bring that forward as an urgency item, not an emergency, but an urgency item, just so that we can take action on it tonight
I'll second it.
and deliver a proclamation. Thank
I
you.
was trying to second
Oh,
it.
never mind. Let Kim second it.
Thank you. As a proud member of the Elks, I would like to second that motion. Thank you.
I think Stephanie is too, right? Yes. Yeah. And John, yeah.
But I was first.
All right. All right. So we have
And
a
it's in my district.
second, third, fourth, and may we call the vote, please?
Councilmember, are we going to do a roll call vote on this for
just a regular
adding
vote.
it to the, okay.
Digital.
Yay.
There we go. It's magic.
Okay, motion received, 7 yes votes.
Great. May I ask Maria Stipe to introduce the proclamation and read it?
Yes, absolutely. So we have a proclamation celebrating May 1st through 7th as Elks National Youth Week. And I'm going to just read that right now. Whereas the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks has designated May 1st through 7th as Youth Week to honor America's junior citizens for their accomplishments and to give fitting recognition of their services to community, state, and nation. And whereas Garden Grove Elks number 1952 will sponsor an observance during that week in tribute to the junior citizens of this community. And whereas no event could be more deserving of our support and participation than one dedicated to these young people who represent the nation's greatest resource. And who in the years ahead will assume the responsibility for advancement of our free society. And whereas our youth need the guidance, inspiration, and encouragement which we alone can give in order to help develop these qualities of character essential for our future leadership. And whereas to achieve this worthy objective, we should demonstrate our partnership with youth, our understanding of their hopes and aspirations, and a sincere willingness to help prepare them in every way for the responsibilities and opportunities for citizenship. Now, therefore, we, the Garden Grove City Council, do hereby proclaim the first week in May as Youth Week and urge all of our citizens to participate wholeheartedly in its observance. And now we'd like to ask a representative of the Elks Club to please come forward and receive a framed copy of the proclamation.
Yeah,
Or
David-
actually, all of you could come forward for a photograph if you'd like,
Hey.
so.
What part are you guys? Those? Who gets the rest of them down here? I see.
That's what we would all like.
He's the
Yeah.
exalted hurler.
Do you guys want to come up and, it's weird, we got like the hockey plexiglass stuff going on.
Sure. Go.
Figured out how to do pictures since we put up the hockey rink.
I'll be the hot in the back. It's a little different, but too short. Let me come this way. Yeah, I'm like a little perfect. You want to share?
Okay, are you ready? Okay. Yeah. Just a few more. Okay, one more here. All right.
Yay.
I don't know.
On behalf of the Garden Grove Elks, it's an honor to have this proclamation. We're very involved in our community with the students in Garden Grove. We do sponsor a youth basketball hoop shoot. We'll help out in the classroom and many other activities. So again, we appreciate the recognition for this. Thank you.
Alrighty, thanks for that. Okay, so since we're doing everything out of order tonight, let me do another one. If I may pull item 3A from the consent calendar forward, which pertains to the next community spotlight that we're planning to do for David Skelton and Susan Lerma as Garden Grove Chamber of Commerce Man and Woman of the Year. So can I bring forward and make a motion to approve item 3A from consent calendar?
Second it.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Brigham,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilmember Bowie,
Yes.
Councilmember Klopfenstein.
Yes.
Councilmember Kim Nguyen,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Deidre Nguyen,
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Alrighty, thank you. Item 1A, presentations, take it away.
Okay, so item 1A is a community spotlight in recognition of David Skelton and Susan Lerma as the Garden Grove Chamber of Commerce 2022 Man and Woman of the Year. So if I could just have Susan and David come forward, we will give a little story about you, too. So this evening, the Garden Grove City Council takes great pleasure in recognizing 2 exceptional community members for their meaningful work in Garden Grove. Every year, the Garden Grove Chamber of Commerce selects 2 dedicated, service-oriented individuals who demonstrate community pride through their volunteer efforts. It's the city's privilege to honor both David and Susan tonight for their exceptional service and just to celebrate their reign, which will begin July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. And we're going to begin with the Man of the Year, David Skelton. David is a U.S. Navy and Vietnam War veteran. He moved to Garden Grove in 1968 and has worked at Garden Grove Glass for over 40 years. He's been a member of the Garden Grove Elks Lodge 1952 since 1971. David became an Elk Lodge officer as a trustee in the early 1980s. He was president in 2005 and district deputy grand exalted ruler in 2013. I love that title. In 2019, he was recognized as Elk of the Year and continues to be a strong leader among his members. Currently, David is heading a committee to purchase solar power for the Elks Lodge to decrease electric usage and benefit the environment. He's also a supporter of the Miss Garden Grove Scholarship Program and the Garden Grove Chamber of Commerce. In 2017, David was a Silver Spoon recipient from the Women's Division of the Garden Grove Chamber of Commerce. And so he's very accomplished, and we thank you, David, for your service. And next, we have Susan Lerma. Susan owns and runs a commercial cleaning company and is very active with numerous nonprofits and service clubs in Garden Grove. She's essential in her own neighborhood watch and is a Citizen Emergency Response Team, or CERT, volunteer. Susan has been involved with the Garden Grove Business Association, Cypress College Americana Awards, Garden Grove Neighborhood Association, Garden Grove Host Lions Club, and many more activities in Garden Grove. In 2021, she received her second Silver Spoon Award from the Women's Division of the Garden Grove Chamber of Commerce for her volunteer service. During the pandemic, Susan collaborated with other nonprofit organizations on a project called Garden Grove Hospital Appreciation Day, which provided personal gifts and boxed lunches for Garden Grove Hospital employees. We all know how meaningful that was at that time. At this time, the mayor and city council would like to present a proclamation to both David and Susan for their selection as the 2022 Garden Grove Chamber of Commerce Man and Woman of the Year. The city congratulates you both and commends your efforts in bringing out the best in our community. Thank you.
I guess we're going inside the jail.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Got it. Thank you.
One more.
Thank you so much.
At the Elks, they always say, don't give Skelton the microphone because he never talks very long. But yes, I'd like to address the council today and congratulate Susan again for her accomplishments. And, you know, thank you very much for the recognition of not only myself, of the Garden Grove Elks Lodge. You know, there's a term, when you see the redcoats coming, it's not really a war, but they're here for a good reason. And they're here to help. And what I'd like to address, I know we have a number of members here from the Elks Lodge. If the council has anything they need assistance with, please contact us and that you see that we don't see in the community that we can be assistance with. Thank you very much, and thank you for the honor.
Thanks, sir. Thanks for all you guys do. All righty then. Go ahead.
I just wanted to thank the Elks for volunteering to assist Garden Grove, specifically District 6, with our dumpster day cleanup. There's not many locations in my district where we can host such events, so I appreciate you guys always stepping up to the plate, whether it's movie nights, concerts, and now the trash day. So thank you so much for all that you do for the community.
Alrighty, thank you. And don't feel like you guys got to stay and hang out. We're going to dive into our business stuff now. So if you guys want to clear out, please, by all means, go ahead. I don't want you to feel trapped once we start going on with this. So we'll give it a minute.
It's fixing to get real boring in here, so. Go get some food.
See you at meeting.
Alrighty, moving right along to oral communications, and we do have several cards. So I'll go ahead and start with Matt Seeley.
My name is Matt Seeley. I am an attorney at Finch Thornton & Baird, here on behalf of R.E. Schultz Construction. I'm here to talk about Agenda Item 4A, the Garden Grove Park Improvement Phase 2 project. The staff recommendation before you is to award the project to Western State Builders, WSB. The recommendation asks you to waive the many non-waivable errors with WSB's bid. I passed out a handout earlier detailing these errors. As fiduciaries, you cannot allow the city to violate the law by awarding the project to WSB. You need to reject WSB's bid or at least table the award and direct staff to take a harder look at the case law cited in our protest. There are many types of errors that can occur during the bid process. Some are waivable, some are not. California law is very clear on 2 points. Number 1, a city must comply with its own bid documents. Take a look at the Posar case cited in our protest. Number 2, when a bid error could have impacted the bid price, the error is absolutely not waivable. Take a look at the Valley Crest case cited in our protest. Here, WSB's bid is literally the bid price. WSB's bid error is literally the bid price, excuse me. I want to direct your attention to error number 1 in your handout. WSB's total bid price in figures does not match its written bid price. WSB's total bid price in words is, quote, $263,988. In contrast, the total price written in numbers is $263,988. Per the city's bid documents, in case of a discrepancy between the words and figures, the words shall prevail. As stated in the Posar case, the city must comply with the rules it sets in its bid documents. Therefore, regardless of what the line items add up to, WSB's words prevail over figures, and the only contract the city can award WSB today is for $263, not the $263,000 contract in the agenda. Additionally, under Public Contract Code Section 5103, bidders may seek to withdraw their bid without forfeiting their bond if the bidder made a mistake that made the bid materially different. such as a typo or a math error. California law is again clear. As stated in the Valley Crest case, errors subject to relief under Section 5103 are not waivable, regardless of whether the bidder actually withdraws its bid. As shown in your handout, WSB's bid contained many errors subject to relief under this section. For instance, WSB failed to submit the addenda with its bid as required by the bid documents. This is clearly required by the bid documents and not a matter of contract interpretation. There are 4 other errors shown on the handout I gave you. Any single one of these errors are subject to Section 5103 and make WSB's bid non-responsive. City staff is attempting to walk you into awarding an illegal contract. You do not have discretion to waive these errors. Awarding this contract to WSB today will not hold up in court. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Schultz.
Good evening, council and mayor. My name is Richard Schultz. I'm with R.E. Schultz Construction. R.E. Schultz Construction has been in business for over 25 years. We've done many successful projects with the city of Garden Grove since 2010. And we are here to speak on the award of this contract to WSB. We were the second place bidder. There were two other bids that were all in the competitive range of our bid, that all complied with the bid documents and included their addendums and did everything per the bid documents. WSB's bid is substantially lower than the 3 bids. They're $70,000 lower on a $300,000 bid. This is a prevailing wage project. WSB is from out of town, and therefore they are stipulated to pay subsidence money. They're from Escondido. They're more than the 60 miles away from the job site. They're required to pay subsidence to all their workers that travel that distance on a daily basis. We don't see how it's possible for WSB to do this project at the low rate that they bid it and comply with the state laws. You know, attention to detail, I've been in business, like I said, for over 25 years. Attention to details in construction is everything. And if they can't pay attention to details in the bid documents, what makes you believe that they're gonna pay attention to all the details of a park playground project that has, you know, basically the life of children at their hands, you know? Safety in playgrounds, we are in the playground business, is what we specialize in. Playground is the foremost mission to what the playground industry is about, is safety to the children. So therefore, you know, we're asking you to reconsider this award per the council, and please take a look at the handout that was provided to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Nick Dibbs.
Mayor Jones, members of the council, my name is Nicholas Dibbs. I'm a teacher, educator, longtime resident of Garden Grove. I'm here on a number of items. This month you've adopted, under 3D, you're going to be adopting a proclamation recognizing May as Mental Health Awareness Month. I've spoken out on this before. We need to do more on mental health prevention. They say an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. There's some websites here that can help protect our children from social media abuse and other things that are going on. And also the NetCetera booklets are part of this from the Federal Trade Commission. There's a number of things. Now, in the proclamation you just approved for the Elks Lodge, Elks National Youth Week, the importance to have opportunities for the youth who need guidance, character, leadership, development, and so on. This all comes down to what can we do as not only individuals, but individually and collectively to help improve our city and the community. And obviously working with the schools, one thing about mental health awareness and improving mental health wellness is and I've spoken about this before, is bringing back our shop classes so students can work with their hands and build things, learn how to make things, and so on. We have a shortage of skilled workers. So I encourage you to do everything you can to encourage the school board to bring back our shop classes, wood shops, metal shops, auto shops that have been cut by GGUSD. All 10 intermediate schools no longer have a wood shop or a metal shop. 4 of the 7 high schools no longer have an auto shop. I think that this is, I keep speaking about this not only at council meetings but at school board meetings, and nothing seems to happen. So this is something to help improve mental health awareness. Whatever you can do, whatever influence you have to help bring that about would be great. And I have a petition here, and people can come to the Garden Grove Main Street Car Show on Friday evenings, and I'm usually there, and I have this petition which people can sign up for to help bring back our shop classes. Okay, now I also want to mention that we need more green space. So whatever's going to go on with Willowick Golf Course, I hope you can work it out so that we can preserve that, have an arboretum or have a nature park, have Long Beach has a nature center and an El Dorado nature center and park. Cal State Fullerton has a 26-acre Fullerton Arboretum. We need to have the jewel here, and I hope you use part of Willowick for outdoor space, or all of it. Today, Metropolitan Water District of Southern California issued an alert for everyone to start conserving water. That's something I want to encourage the council and the staff, put that in the water bill, start encouraging people to save water. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. That's all the cards I have. Anyone else wishing to speak who did not turn in a pink card? Please come forward, sir.
Hi, Council. My name is Julian. I'm with Western State Builders. We are the parent low bid on the Garden Grove project. There was a bid protest filed by Ari Schultz that we responded to, and city staff did review. The addendums that they are focused on are physical addendums that 75% of the other bidders interpreted the bid docs not to include those. The original bid docs did have an addendum acknowledgement form, which Western did acknowledge, but the physical addendums is what they're talking about. The cause for us being out-of-town contractors, we have staff and we have crews that are located up here in town, or up here in Riverside, so the prevailing wage rates, it's the same. There's basically a $70,000 cost difference between Ari Schultz and Western. The city has had 2 different reviews on their protest and has deemed that Western is a responsive bidder for that project. So I would urge the city to dismiss Ari Schultz's bid protest. I would also like the council to know that currently Western has 4 other projects that this specific contractor is bid protesting throughout Southern California on Western's behalf. There's a personal vendetta, and that's all. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in oral that did not submit a card? Okay. Seeing none, we will close oral communications. That takes us on to consent items. Keeping in mind we already acted on 3A, so it's recommended that 3B through 3G be acted on simultaneously unless anyone would like to pull any other items. Why you gotta be like that? We're doing everything out of order tonight. Didn't you get the memo?
It's the backwards night. Yeah.
That's okay.
We're on consent. Let's go ahead, and we've got a motion even. Do we get a second? And we'll go consent.
I second it.
Back to all your rational thinking over there. We have a motion, a second for consent. Thanks.
Guess what makes
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
We're good?
We're good. Motion
Okay.
received, 7 yes
You're good?
votes for the record.
I'm
You're
good. Okay. And with that being said, I'll now let's adjourn to successor agency. And Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Member Brightingham.
Here.
Member O'Neill.
Here.
Member Deidre Nguyen.
Here.
Member Klopfenstein.
Here.
Member Kim Nguyen.
Here.
Vice Chair Bowie.
Yeah.
And Chair Jones.
Here. Okay, we already did oral communications, consent items, just receive and follow the minutes.
Second.
Call the vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Any matters? Okay, seeing none, we'll adjourn and go to the sanitary district. I'll hand it over to President John O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to open up the sanitary district meeting. If the clerk could please call the roll.
Member Brightingham.
Here.
Member Bowie.
Yeah.
Member Jones.
Here.
Member Klopfenstein.
Here.
Member Kim Nguyen.
Here.
Vice President Deidre Nguyen.
Here.
And President O'Neill.
Here. Thank you. Next, we will go to oral communications, which we've already held simultaneously. Next is consent items, receive and file the minutes.
Move to approve. Second it.
Second, please call for the vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Any matters from members? Okay, seeing none, we'll adjourn to the next sanitary district meeting, May 24th at 6:30. Thank you. Back to council.
All right, we'll reconvene city council. We've completed consent items, so we'll go to items for consideration. Item 4A.
Item 4A is award of contract for city project number 216-310-1280-2, the Garden Grove Park Improvements Phase 2 to Western Builders, Inc. And we have Mrs. Pelayo here to provide the report.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. This evening, staff is requesting for the City Council to award a contract for the Garden Grove Park Improvements Phase 2 project to Western State Builders Incorporated. The replacement of the playground equipment at Garden Grove Park is part of the capital improvement priorities outlined in the 2019 Parks and Facilities Master Plan. In November of 2021, the City Council approved the request to issue a purchase order for Innovative Playground Company Incorporated for the purchase of new playground equipment at Garden Grove Park through the Sourcewell Competitive Bid Program. Following this authorization approval, staff processed the purchase order for the new playground equipment that will be installed by the selected contractor for the city project bid. 8 bids were received and opened by the city clerk's office on April 11, 2022 at 11 a.m. Staff reviewed the bid documents submitted by the lowest qualified contractor, Western State Builders Incorporated, with a total bid of $263,988. This bid amount is within the current project budget. The licenses and references of the contractor have been reviewed and verified by staff, and all other documentation is in order. A supplemental report was provided to the City Council in response to the supplement to the bid protest filed by R.E. Schultz Construction Incorporated, who is the second lowest bidder. In the supplement to the bid protest, R.E. Schultz raises various claims against the bid submitted by the lowest bidder, Western State Builders. Staff has determined that the issues outlined do not affect the total bid price or give Western State Builders a competitive advantage over the other bidders. Staff recommends that the City Council waive the irregularities described in the supplement to the bid protest to the extent that they exist and award the contract to Western State Builders as the lowest responsible bidder for the project. If this request is approved, the contract schedule would start next month with completion date anticipated by July 31st of 2022. The completion of this project will have no financial impact to the city's general fund. This improvement is included in the Community Services Capital Improvement Budget and is funded by the citywide park fee and park fee funds. To conclude, staff would like to recommend that the City Council, 1, award a contract for Garden Grove Park Improvements Phase 2 in the amount of $263,988 to Western State Builders Incorporated, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement on behalf of the city and make minor modifications as appropriate. That concludes staff's report. I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Janet. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, I just, hearing one of the speakers talking about the dispute, I'd like our city attorney to opine in on that and you know, the young attorney in the audience who had posed those issues. Can you chime in on some of those issues?
Sure, City Council. So the standards, the legal standards that that the attorney has put on the record is correct. The legal standard is that the City Council does have the authority to waive irregularities if they do not materially affect the bid, they don't change the price, and doesn't give the bidder that has irregularities in the bid, doesn't give him a competitive advantage. The issue is that you're being asked to apply those legal standards in a factual scenario. You know, whether the facts before you are basically you're prohibited because the facts show that in fact waiving these irregularities would give a undue advantage to the low bidder, or whether it would affect the price of the bid. Staff has taken a look at the bids that was submitted, has taken a look at the bid protest, and has determined that the irregularities can be waived. Doesn't change the price, doesn't change the work that they're going to be performing, doesn't give the low bidder a competitive advantage because it's not changing, you know, the project scope. It's not changing what they have to do. It's not changing the price that they quoted for to do the work. I mean, you can take a look at, you know, the error in terms of describing in words what the bid amount is. Yes, they forgot to write the word 1,000, but they describe all 6 figures in the bid. And whether you think that the bid is $263.988, you know, I mean, that's what's before you. Whether when you read that bid document the way it was written, you really do believe that it's $263 as opposed to the $263,000. And again, you know, it's you're at this time you're being asked to be judge of the information that has been provided to you. I mean, yeah, if you ask me personally, I mean, I can tell you the staff looked at this and didn't see a problem. They didn't interpret it to mean $263, right? When I looked at it, yes, I read it twice, but 988 cents doesn't make sense either, right? And so clearly they describe every number that they wrote down. And so clearly they meant the $263,000. And that was ultimately the only way that I could read it. But it's really up to the City Council to determine whether you would approve and let this contract at $263, which again, in my opinion, the record does not support that. So again, you know, the City Council has the option to follow staff recommendation. Council also has the option to continue the matter if you want staff to take a look at, you know, some of these items and you feel that you need more information. You can also reject all bids if the council wishes to do that, and we would have to go and rebid the project. Or the City Council can decide that the second low bidder is correct, that these are errors that make the low bid, you know, basically it makes the low bid non-responsive, and therefore you would have to let the bid to the second lowest bidder. The issue for the city and for staff is that under state law, we also have an obligation to let the contract to the lowest responsible bidder. And staff has determined and making a recommendation that the low bid is the responsible bidder, and therefore under state law, our only recommendation would be to let the contract to the low bidder.
I appreciate your input, because I know we all kind of perked up when we heard, you know, the issues at hand. I personally think any delay on this project would be unreasonable. You know, this park has needed some improvements for a long time, and you know, any delay just delays it further. I'm sorry?
a question and answer first
Oh,
before we
yeah,
deliberate?
yeah. Well, I would, yeah. Sure.
Go ahead, Pat.
First question.
I have quite a few questions. I have no problem with the arrow number 1, where the wording of the price are different than the dollar amount. I myself have wrote hundreds of proposals to state and private businesses. So in fact, out of those hundreds of proposals, sometimes I have discrepancy in my pricing, right? And the state agency asks for clarification when they see the words and the number doesn't match. And so they allow us to correct that because it doesn't violate the procurement, the proposal policy. It's just clarification, not adding thing or add new thing or changing thing. So error number 1, I have no concern with. I'm sure most people will read that and will see that the dollar amount is $260,988. On error number 2, the Source Corporation contests that they did not acknowledge the addenda 1, 2, and 3, and then Western State Builders indicate that they indicate that in their electronic response, but not on paper. I would like the city attorney to confirm that whether that is correct or not.
Yes, so in the bid sheets that were submitted by pretty much all the bidders, they did acknowledge each one of the addenda. So
Okay.
it's specifically acknowledged in the low bidders' bid documents that every addenda is acknowledged there.
Okay. On item number 3, and again, I'm basing my my input on my experience with the state procurement and bid response. I'm not sure if that's applicable to the city bidding process, but if someone, if this is a state contract and I omit to not listing a subcontractor, I will not be allowed to use that subcontractor because I did not list it in the original procurement. Is this the case here that they intend to use some contractor but forgot to list it?
No, no, and we actually, so the low bidder is a Class A contractor, and as a Class A, as a general contractor, they are allowed to perform all of the work. And what state law says is similar to the state bidding requirements that you're used to. If you're going to use a subcontractor and let more than 0.5% of the bid price to a subcontractor, you're required to list the subcontractor in the bid documents.
That's correct.
Yes.
I can't
And-
contest that.
Yeah, and if you don't list a subcontractor, you're not allowed to use that subcontractor or add a subcontractor after the fact. And we have confirmed with both the state licensing and also our building official and also our engineers that Class A contractor can perform the electrical work that's required under the bid requirements.
So in other words, they did not, in their bid process, they did not say that I shall use company ABC, but forgot to list it. That was not the case.
Correct.
Because if they mention that in the proposal that I am going to use company ABC, then they must list it in the summary, otherwise they will be deemed disqualified.
Correct.
But that was not the case.
That is not the case.
Error number 4, listing something twice. I don't think, as long as the final amount doesn't count both of them, I will be okay with that. The final amount doesn't double count the listing twice of the same services. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Both staff and I myself also
Error
double-checked
number
that.
5 and error number 6, this is something that I'm a little bit worried about, right? They omit certain response, and depending on the context of the bidding of the RFP, if we say that failure to do this will disqualify the vendor. Then if they omit that, then that company will have to be disqualified. So I'm not familiar with the bidding process, so I don't know if that is the case. So if in the RFP, we specify that, for example, contractors are required to certify that they need to complete the equal employment opportunity certification. If they require that and they forget to provide that information, then that bid will be disqualified, not considered. Is that the case here? On error number 5 and error number 6.
I have to look to staff to see if they double checked on that information.
Mainly, it's just for fairness, right? So
Yeah.
if someone omit an important requirement,
I will say,
And-
it does show like a
Those
signature
forms-
Pocono here.
Yeah.
Like, he actually had to sign under it, and they cut that off in
Signed.
the exemplar.
yeah, I don't know, I'm not, but I'm just talking about the state procurement and bid
I just
response
didn't
that
check
I'm
off one of the
very
items,
familiar with.
but the page was.
And sometimes I miss one, and tough, if I miss it,
Actually, it is.
I will be disqualified. So I want to make sure that we are not,
Is that, whose is that?
That is page 17.
Yeah.
It is checked off and signed off and included in the bid package,
they did include it?
yes,
In our bid package we have, yeah.
which is the same one that was sent out to R.E. Schultz Construction.
So in summary, I am not concerned with error number 1 through number 4. Error number 5 and error number 6, it was not true what they contested, that they did check those things in their final document.
I'm looking at the sheet right now, and it is checked off.
Okay.
6 is a circle, right? Has, or you circle it, has not.
On page 18, the form is filled out as well and signed, acknowledging that certification, so, which is item number 6.
All right, no more concern, no more question.
Okay, John, go ahead.
I just have a couple questions about the actual project. This is acquiring the playground equipment and installing it, correct? Not other general construction that's already been going on. This is the playground equipment and installation of that equipment, correct?
Right, so we've already ordered the playground, and we'll be shipping next month.
Oh, okay.
And
The installation
this
of the
is just for
playground.
the installation
We already,
portion.
yeah, we already purchased the equipment ourselves, right?
Yes.
Okay. So they're just installing the equipment that we purchased?
They
already- Already. And these companies, that's what they do all the time, is install playground equipment?
They all were required to have a certain number of years of experience installing playground equipment.
Okay, thank you. And on the issue, I noticed on the complaint here is that they omitted an electrical contractor. I understand the attorneys, I looked up their license while I'm sitting here, so they have an A and a B and some other licenses for the playground equipment. Now, how much electrical work is involved in playground equipment?
So there are 4 light posts that are going to be installed around the playground to add lighting for evening hours, and so those are part of the electrical improvements that are called out in the plans.
And none of that work's been completed, the underground, the supports or anything, or?
Phase 1 did complete a lot of the underground work. This will just be add-on as Phase 2, so there's, most of the electrical improvements were already completed.
Oh, okay. I just want to, and for the attorney maybe, this just doesn't fall under our community workforce agreement? This is not a community workforce agreement project?
It is not.
Okay, that's unfortunate. I'd rather have local people, helping out with those things. And I just want to make sure that this contractor has state licensed electricians installing this electrical work. You have to be a state certified electrician to install electrical work, even if you're working for an electrical contractor. Or the contractor has to do the work himself. So please hire a state certified electrician. We will be monitoring that. Other than that, I have no problem. So thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Any other questions or comments, colleagues?
I have a comment I was gonna say.
Yeah, go ahead.
Honestly, when you put these things out to bid, and I think Councilmember Bowie, has dealt with this a lot, and sometimes, a little mistake here, I don't see how anybody in their right mind could think that this job was only gonna cost $263 to do, right? So it was clearly a mistake. Low bidder, by $70,000. I mean, we're saving the taxpayers quite a bit of money and getting the job done professionally and as quickly as possible so the kids could start using that stuff, right? So, you know, I have no issues. Yeah.
Guhan.
Well, since everybody brought up all the issue and clerical errors, just want to say that Garden Grove Park is in my district, and I'm very excited. Yeah, we all sharing actually, and I'm very excited to have a little improvement because that part really need a big facelift too, because it's been a while. So I'm very excited for that.
Anybody else? George, was that a motion?
That's it. I'll second it.
A motion and a second. Roll call vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Alrighty, thank you. That takes us on to item 4B.
Item 4B is approval of the First Amendment to the agreement with the County of Orange to provide forensic services, and Lieutenant Barrio is here to provide the report.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council, and staff. I am here today to obtain City Council approval for the First Amendment to the agreement with the County of Orange to provide forensic services for the Garden Grove Police Department. Since 1996, the City of Garden Grove has contracted with the county for crime scene forensic services. The Orange County Lab provides these services, and it is the only forensic lab with the capabilities and logistics to provide all of the forensic services required by the department. Historically, the department has entered into a 5-year agreement with the County of Orange for these services, and current 5-year term expires June 30th of 2026. During the term of the agreement, the Orange County Crime Lab will continue to provide enhanced services and the following county services personnel, which includes 2 lead forensic specialists and 1 forensic scientist. DNA has continued to be the leading technology for gathering forensic evidence and solving crime. Having forensic scientists assigned to the Garden Grove Police Department for DNA casework has dramatically increased the efficiency in submitting and receiving crime lab results for the Detective Bureau. The police department is extremely satisfied with the level of quality and service it has received from the Orange County Crime Lab. The full cost of the contract for fiscal year 2022-2023 is estimated to be $670,519, an increase of $36,549 from the fiscal year 2021-2022. The increase is due to the negotiated salary and benefits increase for county employees, as well as higher costs of equipment and crime scene investigation supplies. The additional costs will be included in the fiscal year 2022-2023 continuation budget adjustment. At the close of fiscal year 2022-2023, the county will refund to the city all prepaid but unused funds allocated to overtime costs under this amendment. During the term of the agreement, the crime lab will provide all supplies and processing directly related to services performed by their personnel under the terms of this agreement. Finally, it is recommended that City Council approve the First Amendment to the agreement with the Orange County to provide forensic services to the Police Department in the amount of $670,519 for fiscal year 2022-2023, and authorize the mayor and the police chief to execute the agreement on behalf of the city and make minor modifications as appropriate thereto. This conducts my staff report, and I am available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Colleagues, any questions?
Mr. Mayor, I do have a question, or a question, comment, I guess. You know, and I not holding this up, you know, this is a service that the city needs, the police department, the community needs it. Just kind of the agreement or contract initial, I remember when it came through, I think it went till, what, 2026 or
Yes.
2020? And, you know, it just seems very unconventional to me that you enter into an agreement or a contract and the person providing the services can change the price every year. At that point, why do we have an agreement or contract? You know, it seems to kind of defeat the whole point of a contract or an agreement. I'm sure this is probably how they do business. It's probably their way of doing it, but it just seemed very counterintuitive. You know, why would we enter into a long-term agreement that really they get to change the price every year, right? So anyway, just food for thought. Maybe we look to see if this is the wisest way to go in the future. But yeah, I'm not going to hold it up. We obviously need the services and you know, so.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? Move it.
Second.
Second.
Call the vote, please.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Alrighty, thank you. That takes us on to matters. We'll go a little bit out of order tonight because I had a couple requests. So start with Councilmember Kloffenstein.
Thank you very much. I just want to make mention and remind everyone that this Friday, April 29th, is the deadline to nominate your home for our new home beautification program called Garden Grove Gems. You've probably seen that on our social media. If you're a proud Garden Grove homeowner who maintains a beautiful home and garden, send a photo of your home and application, which you can find online at ggcity.org/gems. Not only will your home be in the running to be named a Garden Grove Gem, but from all the nominations we receive, 4 will be selected to win a $100 Home Depot gift card. During the week of Monday, May 9th through the 13th, all of the nominated homes will be featured on the Garden Grove Gems webpage. Again, that's at ggcity.org/gems for the community to vote for their favorites. Winners will receive gifts and also be honored at an upcoming awards reception. So once again, this Friday, the 29th, is the deadline. So make sure you nominate your home, and again, you'll have a chance to win that $100 Home Depot gift card. For more information, you can send your photos and your application to ggcity.org/gems. Good luck.
Thank you. Tuha.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to pass out this one to my colleagues, to George. So as we know, for the past couple months or a year or so, we're seeing a very drastically increase on converter theft across the nations as well as locally. And I noticed last week, City of Huntington Beach have adopted an ordinance for the new law on the converter theft, which will give the police more tool to enforce on this one. And I would like to ask my council, my colleagues, to support, because I would like to agendize the similar ordinance for our city of Garden Grove. And as you see, for the Huntington Beach, under the ordinance, the violation would be prosecuted as a misdemeanor with fine not exceeding $1,000 and could be and imprisonment up to 6 months or both. So this something will, for our city, it will help our police department have additional tool to enforce this. And I just want to share my story. Three of my friends actually had the converter stolen, and it's actually one of them, two of them in City of Garden Grove, and one of them in City of Westminster. So I think that would be very helpful, and I ask for your support so we can agendize for next council meeting.
I'll second your motion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead and call that to vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All righty, Councilmember Reddigan. Anything?
I'm almost apprehensive because it's going to make for a long meeting next week or next time. Anyway, you know what? We talk about improving the quality of life in Garden Grove for the residents, but rarely do we get to act on that. We get to maintain stuff that's already there. And one of the things, it's been around for about 25 years, is a 4-day work week. 4-day work week is really prevalent in government, medical, aerospace, and a lot of big, companies where they have either a 410 or a 312 or a 980 type of scenario where they work 4 days a week instead of 7. But it really hasn't caught on with the businesses in the smaller businesses throughout the community. Some of the benefits, obviously reduced traffic, reduced air pollution, reduced fossil fuel consumption, reduced fossil fuel cost, and increased quality of life for the community, for everyone. So, I got to thinking, how do we, as a elected body, incentivize that? What could we do to kind of make businesses look every year at their business model and think, well, maybe I should consider bringing my employees to a compressed work schedule or a 4-day work week. So, I would like to agendize for conversation, a resolution or a ordinance that would give a 5% reduction in businesses' licensing fees and for the application and renewals, the annual reuse, 5% reduction to any business that has 10 or more full-time employees. I don't care what kind of business it is. If you have 10 or more full-time employees and you offer a 4-day work week to your employees, we'll offer them a 5% reduction in their business license. I know it's not a lot of money, but it forces those business owners to every year look at that and go, and after 5-10 years, they're thinking, wow, I could have saved X amount of money if I'd have done this, or, it keeps it in their minds as a possibility. It's not a mandate by any stretch of the imagination. Just, hey, if you do happen to do this, you get a little discount on your licensing fees. So anyway, I'd like to agendize that for the next meeting, discussion on maybe pursuing that option.
Discussion or taking action?
Well, for discussion for action, obviously. I mean, we'd have to discuss it and decide if we would go along with it or not.
I would generally support it, but I would like to understand more than just discuss. I would like to understand a little bit about, what kind of impact would that be on our revenue. I have no idea how many big business do we have in Garden Grove, manufacturing, of course, and how much business license do they pay? I understand it's 1% of their revenue. So if they have, $10 million revenue, the 5% of 1% might not be.
I did get some.
I don't know how many would that come to. So for it to be fruitful, I need to have those information rather than just based on philosophical that, yeah, of course, it's good to have a 4-day work weeks. Of course, it's good, but we'd like to have data so that we know what we are deciding upon.
I did get some data today.
I would second your motion to have discussion, but I would like it to be more fruitful with data for me to munch on rather than just based on the philosophical.
Yeah. And that's what I would ask is we could provide that data I got from city staff revolving some of the preliminary, they just did a quick look of kind of what it would be and what it would look like, and some of the pros and cons associated. And we could provide all that information to everyone, make a decision one way or the other. But first it would have to be agendized before we do all that.
Sure.
So.
And I also remember I read on the newspaper that the state just did something very similar about a month ago. So are we going to repeat what they did, or if we need to emphasize it, then we may want to act on it. But other than that, the state already pushed our program to do what we just plan to do.
It's very rare that a governing body or an elected body gives back a tax break. Usually they want more taxes, and so I get it's a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow. but I think it's an appropriate pill. I think the benefits to the community far outweigh the negligible costs. I know for a tax increase, you have to have a ballot measure. But for a tax decrease, I don't think you need a ballot measure. I think we can just do that. And maybe it's something we'd look into. I'm just saying we need to explore it. So I appreciate your second, Councilman Bowie.
I just wanted to chime in with the comment. I'm open to the idea. I'm obviously pro 4-day work week, but I do want to see what the ramifications of that would look like for the city financially, but also is there more research that they need to do? I would also like the comparison to the potential, I don't know if it's already passed as a law in California, so how that would balance out with what we're doing here. But also, we are approaching budget season. Is this something that, how soon can we request staff to bring this forward? I know they're inundated, so I just want to be mindful of that as well. But I would like to hear more on it.
Got a first and a second, so.
Anybody else, any other thoughts or comments?
So, staff, is this something that you can bring back at the next meeting? Because I believe that's what the
Well-
motion, the second is.
Well, in order to have discussion, we need to bring it back at the next meeting so that, we can get direction and, we'll provide as much information as we can. But without it, the vote today, we can't really agendize it to the next meeting.
And honestly, we'd probably be the first city in the state to do something like this. I don't think it's ever been done. So there's probably some new novel ground they got to look into and, so.
All right.
Alrighty then, we have a motion and a second. Are you wanting to say anything?
I was just going to make sure staff understand. So I know we shared a little bit of data with Councilman Brightingham. He asked, how many business licenses do we even issue? And, we gave him some preliminary data about the number of licenses, generally how much, people pay for their business licenses. And as the councilman indicated, the numbers aren't huge, but, we'll have some of that information at your fingertips at the next meeting. It sounds like you're not expecting staff to do a big report, do a lot of research.
I think you already did most of it, but.
So
yeah.
we'll agendize it and he'll have some of the data to share with you and, we'll go from there.
I do think is a good point Kim made, that we're in the middle of a budget cycle and that kind of stuff. So if kind of getting into the numbers on this affects people's ability to get the budget done, then I would say let's defer this out further because it's not particularly as critical as getting the budget done. But that's just if there's any.
I also
timing
just wanted to
issues
point out
and
that we're
stuff.
down a budget manager, so that's kind of my concern too with staffing bringing this forward. But I do want to say that I am curious to see this information. But if after that next meeting requires more looking into, then we really just need to think about time frame, just because I want to be cognizant of the fact that we are down a budget manager and we do have the budget coming up. So just keeping staff in mind, this is something that I'd like to see more information on, but very well aware of our staffing.
What financial information I need is very simple, and I think you have to do that already for your budgeting, right? Basically all I need to know is how many business license in the $1 million down, $1 to $2 million to $2 to $4 million. I just need a bare, estimate, so that I know the 5% impact would be how wide, right? So, and you have to do budgeting for that already every year. You already do that. So I don't think it's a lot of effort that you need to provide us.
No, and I agree with you. I think we've already given Councilman Brightingham some basic information, probably most of what you're thinking about. So we'll work with him to just have maybe a little fact sheet of some of that data so he can talk from it at the next meeting. We'll agendize it, similar to Mayor Pro Tem Wynn's request for, and we'll agendize that too so that you can make some decisions on both those items on direction for us.
And quite frankly, the beauty of this scenario is it would take zero staff time as far as maintenance, oversight. Simply post the names on the website of the businesses that are getting a 5% discount, and believe me, the employees will police it for us. So there's no financial impact as far as the financial people dealing with anything other than putting 5% reduction on the form and maybe a checkbox. So there's very minimal staff time involved, and if any, other than adding the name to the website or something. But anyway, that's kind of the
Agendize it next week, and then next council meeting, then we see where we go.
yeah, that's what we did. So I guess we got to vote on it, right?
Do we vote?
Do we need to vote?
We have a motion, a second.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Alrighty, John, anything? Thank you. Pat?
I just would like to inform and invite the public to the Black April Memorial Services exactly on that day, April 30th, from 6 p.m. to about 9 p.m. It will be done at the Vietnam War Memorial Park in Westminster, on All American Way. Most people know where it is. So I'm very happy to have many of the council have RSVP to come, and seating will be limited for VIP. So I'm happy to see five council member Garden Grove already replied to be there. Thank you. And
Thank you. Kim?
I'm one of those 5, right? Because I think
Yes,
okay.
yes,
Just
you are.
making
Yes,
sure
you are.
I didn't forget something.
Don't worry, grab a seat.
Just really quickly, a reminder to everyone in the community, tomorrow is Denim Day. I'd love to see you out there at 8 a.m. at the Civic Center Park wearing denim in support of Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. General Counsel, do we have anything to report out? I think we do.
Yes, Mayor, earlier this evening, we did have a closed session on initiation of litigation on 2 potential cases, and the City Council did unanimously authorize commencement of receivership proceedings for properties located at 13212 Partridge Street and 12301 Flint Place. And on the second item, real estate negotiations, there's no reportable action on that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. City Manager Scott Stiles.
No items, Mr. Mayor.
Alrighty. Thank you, everyone. And with that, I believe we will stand adjourned. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening.